Hey, good morning. Come on up. So for one of our pre-meeting proclamations, we wanted to recognize KidSmart, in particular the Bloomberg initiative that's going on through KidSmart. So KidSmart, they are a great organization that engages kids and educators in a dynamic and creative and relevant way through learning with the arts. And what we're here to talk about today is that KidSmart has been selected to lead the prestigious Bloomberg Arts Internship Program in New Orleans. And this is only 1 in 7 cities nationwide and the only city in the South to offer this opportunity to its city youth. There are 18 rising New Orleans public school high school seniors that graduated the program's inaugural year by participating in paid living wage internships in the arts and culture sector and developing both college preparation and workforce readiness skills. So with that, I'll turn it over to Elise, if you want to start us out and introduce who you have with you.
Great. Hi, I'm Elise Gallineau-Goldman. I'm the Executive Director of KidSmart, and I've got with me today one of our amazing Bloomberg interns, Kashara Powell, and our Director of Community Partnerships, Stephanie Harriger, who runs this amazing program.
I just want to thank the council for this honor and for this recognition of all the work that our students have been doing. I think the thing that makes me most proud about this program is that it allows students across the city to really connect with the arts and culture sector in a way that prepares them for a life in that work. They do a full-term internship, they are making connections, they're re-engaging with what is happening here in their hometown, and then they're taking that into whatever their next steps in life are. So we're very proud and honored to be able to say that New Orleans is a Bloomberg Arts Internship City.
That's awesome.
Kashara, do you want to
say anything? Or tell us about your internship?
The internship was very fun and interesting. I got to know more about the city, even though I thought I knew about the city and all the arts and other amazing things that's there, even the small museums and stuff. I was like, wow, this is really in my city. And it was just a fun time hanging out with people from different schools, and I just felt a close bond with each and every one of them.
I'm so glad to hear.
And I just also want to add that because of this amazing program and Kashara specifically coming in through this, Kashara is going to be the first youth voice that we have on the KidSmart Board of Directors starting this year.
Congrats.
So we'll be able to get more of our actual young people's perspectives as we're making decisions on programming in the future.
And also building up our young leaders, too.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Great. Councilmember Green, would you like to say anything?
First, congratulations on your appointment to the board. But thank you all for the work that you do. Emphasizing the strength of our arts community and the depth of it is so important in New Orleans. I was at an event yesterday where a young woman was the presenter. It was at a Rotary Club meeting, and she's an accomplished pianist and musician. And she was talking about the fact that she didn't know that there was so much going on in New Orleans in the arts community until she became involved with some activities. So thank you for the Bloomberg Arts Institute and also for the work that you all do. Very important to emphasize to our youth that there's as much going on here in New Orleans as there is in any other place.
Absolutely.
I look forward to your leadership making our city even move even further. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the proclamation reads, be it proclaimed by the City of New Orleans that the Council celebrates the contributions of KidSmart in its 25th anniversary year and the Bloomberg Arts Internship New Orleans program in its inaugural year. Congratulations to you all.
Thank you.
We'll come down and take a quick photo, okay?
Okay.
One, two, three. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Sorry about that. I'm going to have to change my lens 1 second, please.
Okay. Sadie, can you take pictures, please? Oh, yeah, I was going to grab them for Sam, but. Yeah, he's having one problem. Oh, okay. I was like, surely that's better than.
Got it. Thank you.
I'm just here to support.
So if you want to make this one bigger.
Hey, man.
Good morning, everyone. We'll start the French Quarter EDD meeting.
Roll call. Councilmember Moreno. Present. Councilmember Morrell. Here. Councilmember Jeruso. Here. Councilmember Harris. Councilmember King.
Here.
Councilmember Green. Councilmember Thomas. We have 5 members. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. So we go to item number 1. Adam, you want to get us started with that? Number one, quarterly budget and expenditure reports of the French Quarter EDD Trust Fund.
Thank you very much. Jane Cooper, the board chair for French Quarter Management District. It's a pleasure to be back and go through the results for the second quarter. I realize that we're further into the year, but we've had a leadership change at French Quarter Management District. Michelle Corso, to my right, is our new executive director. So we are looking at the second quarter results. And I know that everyone knows that the CEA represents our partnership for the French Quarter Economic Development District. These funds are representative of the quarter-for-quarter tax, which will actually be up for renewal next year. So it's important that we all know what the funds have been used for and can talk about their success. The trust fund that represents the funds that have been collected and the expenses that have been incurred, you can see in front of you. So through the second quarter of 2024, approximately $1.9 million with $1.2 million of expenses. So we have a positive balance there. And we are running positive variance to budget, both on income and on expense. So with the resurgence of tourism in the French Quarter, this quarter-for-quarter tax has really started to add up for us. I'm curious to see what it will be as a result of the Taylor Swift concert and the visitors we had to the city. So every year there's a budget and KPIs that are agreed to. We have a group of us collaboratively that's the agreement monitors as outlined in the CEA. And we create these on an annual basis. So through 2024, you can see license plate readers were installed and operational, and crime cameras were a big focus earlier this year. We hear constantly from NOPD that these cameras are helping solve crimes, and we've all seen the positive results that NOPD has had recently. If you have any questions, I'll take those at the end. Code enforcement is one area that we focused on earlier this year. This continues to be a challenge in the French Quarter. We will be renewing our code enforcement individual and expense for that in 2025, but we have some work to do in the area of code enforcement. A huge success is a supplemental police patrol. So when you're in the French Quarter and you see the little black cars driving around, that's the SPPP. Sergeant Castellan, John Castellan, is now overseeing that program, an excellent officer who has made a lot of positive changes. For the first time through the second quarter, we exceeded our KPI in terms of shifts filled, and that has just continued to increase. Here are some of the things that we measure on a monthly basis for that program. And these are additional categories that are tracked. You can see first quarter, second quarter, and year to date. These are all critical areas as we work together to make the French Quarter safe for tourists, workers, and residents. So the other big area that we have focused on historically and will continue to focus on is using some of our resources through TASNO to address the issue of homelessness. Of course, this has been a critical area recently and honestly for a long time. So these are some of the metrics that we get from TASNO on a monthly basis. It continues to be a challenge, as we all know, to find permanent housing for people that are living on the streets of our city, particularly in the French Quarter. We also entered into a new agreement in 2024 with the Covenant House, who focuses on youths, at-risk youths, and we've seen some good results from that partnership and the funding that we provide to them. All right, so third quarter priorities. I want to talk a little bit about some of these as we've wrapped up the third quarter. continue to focus on homeless services, not only through TASNO, but through the Rapid Rehousing Fund, Flex Fund. Enforcement, code enforcement, and traffic enforcement has been a big focus through the Supplemental Police Patrol. There has been a process to go out for bid and finalize a contract for the app that is part of the SPPP program. I know the council either has just finalized and approved that contract or it's pending very shortly. And then a very, very important development for us in the third quarter was the council's decision to allocate $1.75 million from this trust fund to French Quarter Management District so that we could manage streetlight repairs in the French Quarter over the next 60 to 90 days. We all know that the Super Bowl has become a focus in terms of getting some of these infrastructure repairs completed. And I'm happy to report that that program is moving forward on schedule. The work will begin November 13th. The vendor has been selected. So that's my brief report before we get to a few comments about the 2025 budget, which does have to be approved today in this meeting. Does anyone have any questions?
Hey, quick question. I know it's been in previous presentations, but it's not in this one because I don't think it's applicable to this. But don't you all get like a state appropriation every year?
Thank you for the question. We have gotten a state appropriation. Last year was our first, or I guess this year actually was our first year. Senator Harris advocated for us, and again, that was for infrastructure and public safety. In addition to the Supplemental Police Patrol, we also fund another security force that is sheriff deputies that is supported by New Orleans and Company and the state appropriation. We have been notified that we will receive another $1.25 million this year. So yes, it's a lot of additional funding.
Because I think at least the paperwork that I saw is that it's supposed to be 1.5, but it's subject to appropriation by the legislature. So I think you got 1.5 for this year, and then I guess for next year they only appropriated 1.25 from what I saw in the legislation. Is that correct? Okay,
right.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll move on in just a minute while I pull up the budget. All right, so I'm hoping that you have this in front of you. It's the typical format that we use for the budget that is prepared again in collaboration with NOPD, with District C, and with the FQMD leadership. And it falls into a number of buckets. I'm not going to read every line, but I do want to bring a few things to your attention. So, per the CEA and per practice that we've had in place for the last 3 years, the vast majority of this funding goes to the Supplemental Police Patrol. We have improved pay rates and other benefits for these officers, which of course leads to the shift-filled results that we looked at a minute earlier. We also allocated additional funds this year for another program assistant because a civilian was filling that role, and we felt it was more appropriate that an NOPD officer fill the role. And then we have also allocated funding, the $175,910, to additional community liaison officers that will work at night. So we have 2 great CLOs right now on the force. They work during the day, and as we all know, a lot of the problems in the French Quarter surface after 5 p.m. So that's one additional item in the budget. As you look under operating expenses, one-time expenses, we have some funds allocated to buy another light-duty pickup truck. We've purchased a lot of vehicles through this program, and they've been sorely needed. So we have funds allocated for that. We have some additional mobile light units to provide additional lighting in the French Quarter to support the officers. We have some funding allocated for traffic radar training so that vehicles aren't moving at 50 miles an hour down Burgundy Street. Recurring expenses, those are pretty self-explanatory. One new area is if you go by the 8th District Station, you see police cars everywhere, on the sidewalk, on the street, on the grass, everywhere. So we are allocating some money with NOPD's leadership and support to find dedicated parking for vehicles, which will help minimize disruption in that area. And then other public safety programs, this is where the homeless services comes in. Through the state appropriations, we were very successful in doing improvements on Rampart Street. So if you drive down Rampart Street now, there's a flashing light at St. Anne for pedestrians to be able to cross the street without getting run over. So we have some additional funds allocated for that. We decided to support the city in the graffiti abatement program that you all have already put in place, so we additional funds allocated for that. There's money in this budget to be spent. We want to spend it wisely, and we want to spend it in a way that gets results for the visitors, for the workers, and for the residents of the French Quarter. So the numbers are at the bottom. Again, remember that we put $1.75 million out of this fund into the streetlight program for repair and replacement of streetlights in the French Quarter. Does anyone have any questions on the numbers or the programs that are supported by the numbers?
No, I think we're good. Mr. Swinsley?
Yes, council members, this is likely the last meeting of the year for the French Quarter Economic Development District. So in order to have the funding in place for calendar year 2025, we're going to need to entertain a motion to approve the budget. The budget that we're going to approve is exactly as shown on the screen. It is what was approved by the French Quarter Management District. And let me go ahead and just read it into the record. We'll need a vote to receive and add it to the agenda. That needs to be unanimous. Then we can adopt the instrument. FQEDD, motion number M2024-02, be it moved by the governing authority of the French Quarter Economic Development District that the district's annual budget for the year 2025, as approved by the French Quarter Management District on September 9th, 2024, attached hereto as Exhibit A, is hereby adopted. First vote will be to receive and add to the agenda. Then we need a motion to adopt.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
All right, call to adjourn. Make a motion to adjourn. Second by Councilmember Morrell. All in favor? Aye. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Elena?